Hello friends, Stephanie here, and welcome to the first class in this three-part home reset yoga series. In this video, we will flow through a mellow sequence, and then at the end, I will share with you 3 tips on how to most effectively do low lunge. But first and foremost, I want to take this time and congratulate you for taking the initiative and reclaiming the ownership of your body and health. Great job! So for this video, you really just need yourself and a space and maybe a yoga mat. You can roll it out right now. And as you're getting ready, I just want to quickly mention that all videos in this series consist of 2 parts. One is the sequence, and the second is a pose highlight, where we will workshop how to make a specific pose fit your physicality and have marked them down in the time code. So feel free to navigate to any part that you came here for and repeat the sequence as many times as you see fit. So when you're ready, let's get started. Right, so let's get right started into our tabletop position. And I have prepared a blanket because I really like it underneath my knees to protect them. And because the floor is really hard, I don't want to hurt myself. So if you have one, great. If you don't, it's not mandatory. And then just simply plant your hands underneath your shoulders and then roll out the wrists. Just clockwise, counterclockwise. There's no right or wrong. Simply just let your body do what it wants and honor the desire and honor the needs. And so be creative, be animalistic, be. Go with the flow. See what the body requires and wants and is asking of you. Breathe into your palms, breathe into your nose, and then you can even find a few cat-cow if that feels good. So you can push into the palms to lift the tailbone up and then reach the chest forward. And exhale, push again into the palms. Spread the shoulder blades wide in the back as you tuck the tailbone down. A few more rounds. Inhale, push and lift. And exhale, round. One more time. Inhale, push and lift. And exhale, round. And then simply push the hips back to your heels. Reach the arms forward ever so slightly and plant your forehead down onto your mat. Take an inhale for breath. And exhale, release. Let everything out. Inhale, breathe in. In this closed off space, just bring your awareness back onto the mat, to all the touch points that we have right now with the mat. And exhale, let it all go. Last one, here, inhale. Feel your body expanding 360-degree all around with the breath, pressing into your belly, into your thighs. And exhale, let everything go. All right, very good. And on your next inhale, simply push yourself forward and lift the hips back up to your downward facing dog. Paddle out the feet one feet at a time, and simply just breathe. Gaze at your toes, push into the hip palms, spread the shoulder blades wide again, and then when you are ready, lift the right leg up towards the sky. And exhale, step it forward outside of your right hand. And yes, it's okay if it's off the mat. Drop the back knee and reach the right arm up through your chest and then to pointing to the sky. Opening up the chest to the right, shine the left lung over to the right. One more breath here. And exhale, plant the palms and lift the back hip up. Extended pyramid pose. You can walk the fingertips back underneath your shoulders for a bit more stability, but in this extended pyramid pose, you can wiggle the hips side to side to really feel the stretch. And then on your next inhale, step forward and reach up to your active squat. And then in here, I want you to put your hands on your knees, kind of give yourself a little bit more leverage, and then sit the hips back, roll the shoulders, head one forward and the other. Again, no right or wrong. Simply just feel the stretch, feel the movement, feel what body is asking you for. And then when you are ready, exhale, push to stand, hands to heart center. Inhale, reach the arms up, push the hips forward. Exhale, sit it all back to your active squat. And in this active squat, put your palms outside of your knee and then push them in. And then you want to counter that because you don't want your knees to collapse. So you are going to use your quad and the entire thigh essentially to push it back. And you can hold it up here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Amazing work. Plant the palms. Step the right leg and the left one way or the other back, no right or wrong again, and then pedal out the feet. We have a second side. On your next inhale, lift the left leg up towards the sky, and exhale, step it outside of the left hand. Drop the back knee, reach the fingertips across your chest, and then up towards the sky. Inhale, exhale. You can bring your gaze straight forward or up to your fingertips. Last breath here, long line between your armpit and your knee. And exhale, plant the palms, lift the hips back up, walk the fingertips back, extended pyramid pose. Stretch out the hamstring, stretch out the lower back, wiggle the hips side to side, find movement that's a little bit of yours. And then inhale, step forward, active squat. Simply, again, we want to roll the shoulder forward, shoulder head forward, whichever side first, and reach the tailbone back. And this time we're not going to limit the movement. We're just going to hold it up here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. On your next inhale, return to center. Exhale, roll the other shoulder forward. Again, we want the shoulder head and the crown of the head forward, and then the hip, the tailbone backward. They're almost a long line, not straight, but long. And then when you're already, push to stand. Inhale, reach up, push the hips forward. And exhale, again, sit back to your active squat. This time, you know the drill. Push it in, push it in, push it out, push it out. And then counter this force, and we will hold it up here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Amazing work. Plant the palms and then step one foot and the other back to your downward facing dog. Amazing work. On your next inhale, reach the right leg up towards the sky again. Exhale, bringing to your chest, and then step the right foot next to your right thumb. Drop the back drop the back knee, untuck the back toes, and then be happy here. Simply use your fingertips to kind of lift the chest up, provided that this line, this zipper between from your lower back to your rib cage, is still tucked in, still zipped up. And then from here, if this feels a little bit too easy for you, you can walk the hands up to your knee and then use this as a leverage to push your chest forward. We want to find a forward position before we start leaning back into a back bend. So be happy here. A couple more breaths. Make sure that the front knee and the toes are going into the same direction. Now rolling down one way or the other. And the hips too. And then when you are ready, simply push the hips back, walk the fingertips underneath your shoulders to give yourself a little bit more support. And in here, you can wiggle the hips side to side. And if you're rounded up, trying to reach the floor, don't worry about it. Tuck the back toes and lift the chest up. We want a long line of spine. We want it to be long. It doesn't have to be straight. It's never going to be straight, but we want it to be long. So engage the core by zipping up the zipper, as we mentioned, and then lean the chest slightly forward as you wish to really exaggerate the stretch in the hamstring. This is how you can modify and intensify the stretch as you wish. And if you're a bit more flexible and you can reach the floor, that's totally great too. Wiggle the hips side to side. And on your next inhale, plant the right foot down, and then wiggle the one step, heel toe it out to the side ever so slightly, and then plant the palms about 2 inches in front of you. Tuck the back toes, lift the back knee, and then simply roll over your back toes forward and back to really open up the hips. Stretch it out, forward and back. Feel the movement, every breath in, and exhale. And when you are ready, roll the back heel down towards the midline. You can walk the front foot inward, maybe one step or two, and then windmill your arms up to find your warrior two. In warrior two, again, make sure that the knee and the toes are pointing at the same direction. So engage the quad a lot, front and back, inner and outer, front and back, top and down, and then sit back in. Reach the arms up, spread your wings open. And exhale, press to straighten the front leg. And then continue the momentum and sit back to your left heel. If the hips are high up, feel free to use the fingertips here to help yourself find a bit of balance in this stretch. And if flexibility allows, you can sit all the way back down to your heels. That's totally fine. And then you can bring your hands to your prayer. Inhale and exhale. Left elbow against your left knee to pray it open a little bit. Again, these are all suggestions. You don't have to do any of this. As long as it feels good in your body, that's good enough. And then when you roll, slowly walk the fingertips forward, roll over to the back toes, roll the heels up, back heel up, and then before we reach up, be sure to tuck into the belly, zip up the zipper, and then engage the entire core before you reach both arms up to find your crescent pose. Inhale, exhale. On your next inhale, plant the palms, and then simply find your downward facing dog again. And we have the second side. On your next inhale, lift the left leg up towards the sky. And exhale, step it in between the hands, closer to the left. Drop the right knee, and then be happy here. Find your hip position. Make sure that the hips are even so that we're not just opening up one way or the other. It's balanced in between, if you will. And later in pose highlight, we are going to break down low lunge because it's such a widely common practice, and so across different sports. So let's break it down and make sure that we get the best out of this pose. All right, and when you are ready, simply push the hips back to your half splits. Again, make modifications that feels good to you, that helps you find balance. Tuck the back toes, lift yourself up, find balance. I always find it helpful if you have almost like an imaginary target in front of you. And you can focus on that with your gaze, with your intention, and then lift yourself up. Or fingertips down, all good. Different kinds of angle gives different kinds of stretching sensation, whichever gives you the feeling of, releasing. That's good enough. All right, and when you are ready, next inhale, plant the front foot, walk it out to the side a little bit, plant the palms 2 inches in front of you, back toes up, back knee up, and roll up, forward and back. Stretch it out. Imagine you are like a lizard on the wall and you're just reaching up, forward and back, trying to climb up. And when you are ready, roll the back heel down, toe heel the front foot in a little bit, and then windmill your hands up to find your warrior two again. And be sure to push into the pinky side of the back foot to engage the entire back leg. We talked about the front leg before. Knee and toes, same direction. And then reach the arms forward and back. Spread out your collarbone, spread out your shoulder blade, and then just reach forward and back. One more breath here, inhale. And exhale, push to straighten the front leg, and then continue pushing, and sit the hips back to your right heel. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale for preparation. And exhale, walk the fingertips forward, roll the back heel up, tuck the belly in for preparation, and then reach up to your crescent pose. Inhale. And exhale, be sure that the back heel is rolling up. So you push evenly into the big toe and the pinky toe. And then exhale, plant the palms, and then push back to your downward facing dog. In this down dog, feel free to paddle the feet a few more times. Bring your gaze to your toes and push firmly into your hands. And then when you are ready, you can stay at this downward facing dog to catch your breath a few times. Or you can drop onto your knees. Keep them wide open, big toes touching, and then sit the hips back to a wide-legged child's pose. You have a bit more space in between your thighs for your body to really take in the breath. So breathe in, feel the extra space that we have built for ourselves, and exhale, let it go. Couple more breaths here, inhale, and exhale. The two sequences that we just did, one a bit of warm up, the other a bit more lower body release sequences, I have marked them on the timeline. So feel free to go back to those points if you feel like repeating those sequences, and I highly recommend it if you have time to do the lower back, lower body sequence again until you feel good. It's a sequence that I do all the time when I just don't have time to go to a studio class or really do a full 30-minute or 60-minute workout. That's really what I do. And you can feel free from this child's pose. Simply roll onto your back, drop down to Shavasana for about 3 minutes at least to 5. Or you can roll up and let's hit our pose highlight. Alright, in this first video, the pose that we're going to highlight is low lunge because it's such a widely common practice pose across all types of sport. So let's just make sure that we are getting the best out of it. When you reach one leg forward, the other stays in the back. This is generally how it looks. The front knee is going to the direction as the front toes. That's the first thing to take note. We want to make sure that the front leg is secure. And the second is our headlights, which is the hip crease. I always use this car analogy that these two areas are the headline of a car. You want it to be shining forward in front of you so that you know where you're going. Essentially, that's how it is at least in low lunge. You want the headlights to be pointing forward equally, evenly at the same time. So meaning that sometimes when we try to reach the front knee forward, we will open up the hips because we are not really moving the back hip along with it. So it might look like this. And if you find yourself in this open up low lunge position, simply remind yourself that, oh, we need to use the back leg as well. So engage the outer back thigh and then pull yourself back in. And if that means that your hips are not as low and as to the front as you like, that's totally fine. We can always build into this. And then from here, we can push into the hips evenly forward. And last but not least, our back heel. We want to make sure that we push firmly into the pinky toes and the big toe so that we can lift the heel up towards the sky. If in high lunge you notice that your back heel is rolling one way or the other, that usually means that our toes are not engaged. You can use this way to kind of train your body to remember to use the back foot. And then from here you can push the hips forward, guiding by the front knee, and then reach the arms up. Roll the pinky forward, scoop every good energy forward, and reach up, offer it up to the universe. This is essentially how we do low lunge. If you like today's class, be sure to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification button so that when new classes come up, you will be notified. Until next time, thank you and namaste.